never bang. All the Muslim cars now, whichever hit her. I start my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flips me a bike buggy. So, another one, it's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one, it's another one, yeah.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Crossover on the iBoxingHub YouTube channel, presented to you by our sponsor, D-Rock Clothing. As always, guys, if you want to get merchandise like myself, head on over to D-Rock's website, type in the promo code iBoxingHub24, get yourself 40% off. With that being said, I am joined by the man himself, Ghazi, owner of Crossover B News. Is that correct?
Yeah, Crossover Boxing News.
Crossover Boxing News, yeah. So, first and foremost, appreciate you for coming on. We were talking a bit just before we went on in terms of on-air and recording. And it's a very interesting story that you have. So I want to let people know about yourself a little bit more.
Right. So first thing, I appreciate you for having me on. It's nice to have, to be on this show. Yeah, for those who don't know me, my name is Ghazi. I run Crossover Boxing News in the influencer boxing space. I'm a Jordanian who's half English, who lives in Turkey, so all three different regions. And for those who don't know, want a little fun fact, also I'm a game designer as well. That's why I'm here in Turkey studying game design, and hopefully want to, make my own games. So there's a little fun trivia.
That's sick. So what are we thinking? A crossover with Misfits and your gaming potentially in 2020, whenever we can go run it?
Hey, maybe one day. I first got to release my first game. I've been promising everyone back home that I would release it. It's been 4 years now, so it'll come out one day. So one day.
And you were saying before that Misfits is quite big in the Middle East and stuff. Like, just talk to me about it a bit. Like, how did you get into like you said, the crossover boxing scene, and obviously creating the Twitter page that you have done, and then just in general as well?
Well, for the Middle East, the audience there, for me and my friends especially, we tend to watch a lot of UK content creators. So I've been watching KSI for years. I think it also has the fact that I'm also half British. So, but all my friends and a lot of people in the Middle East do actually enjoy Misfits. So Misfits does have a big audience here. Not sure about it being in Jordan, but I do know, especially across Dubai and them lot, there's an audience. And I do know that Mams Taylor did tease that a show in the Middle East may be coming soon this year. I would say, throughout the careers of like KSI and the Sidemen, they've always had a big presence in the Middle East, especially KSI. Every time he used to come to Dubai, he'd have sold out crowds in malls. Same with the Sidemen, with Ethan and Toby. They also came to Dubai, I think, pretty recently, and they still had a pretty large audience. So in terms of Misfits' audience, there is definitely a huge untapped market there for Misfits to slowly expand. And it's not just the Middle East as well. I mean, here in Turkey as well, I've got friends who who are participating in like the latest event, Misfits 14. I told my friend that Salt Papi is fighting, and he went ballistic, and he's from Pakistan. So it's always fun. And the way I got into influencer boxing is, again, from KSI. And the reason why I created my page, Crossover Boxing News, was actually because of another page. I can't remember what the page was before, but I used to work with this person because I always liked writing news and stuff.
Yeah.
I always like reporting on stuff, which another fun fact, I'm also a Wikipedia editor. For those, for those who just want to know, I'm also a Wikipedia editor. So,
bro, I gotta ask, what do you not do?
I like reporting on stuff. I like keeping people in the know. I like making sure things are accurate, written correctly. So I thought, this page that I'm helping running, it's not really that great. I do want more control. So I thought, you know what? Let me take inspiration from Michael Benson, a very famous reporter, and start my own page and see how it goes. And so far I've crossed 3,000 followers. I think just recently KSI actually mentioned the page, I know Jake Paul used, I think this was like 2 years ago, because this page has been running for a while. 2 years ago, Jake Paul used an old video style that I had to upload, but cropped out the top. But I could tell it was my video because of the bottom part. So, that's pretty much it really with the page. I just, I do make money off it, but it's more of a passion project where maybe in the future I'd use these skills to maybe report more, maybe actually start my own website. That's something that I've always wanted to do as well. And yeah.
I was going to say, if the opportunity came then for you, would you come to the UK to go to a Misfits event, potentially report and stuff like that? Or is that something that, you probably wouldn't consider it as much? Or is that something that, if the opportunity is there, you'd make the trip over to the UK to go to a card and report and interview guys?
So I actually did fly over to go to watch the Prime card. I flew over from Turkey. It was the start of my university as well, so it was an interesting trip. But I did manage to go there. I didn't do any reporting there. I even wrote on my page to go follow the other ones because, for one, I had no service, and two, I just wanted to watch as a fan. So if, let's say, I do intend on living in the UK at some point in my life, so if the opportunity were to arise where, let's say, a non-pay-per-view card comes about and then I apply for media accreditation, I would definitely, go in as a reporter more than a viewer. Maybe something like what Fred Beck does.
No, I hear that, man. But with that being said, I want to chat to you a few about some of the topics that have been happening in the Misfits world and the crossover boxing scene. Talked about Salt Papi at the start. He's confirmed now to be back boxing, headlining the card in London in a few weeks' time. Lost his last two fights against Slim and Anthony Taylor. Talk to me about Salt Papi and where do you think he is currently in terms of his boxing career right now?
Well, for Salt Papi, I think, a lot of people disagree, saying that the Anthony Taylor fight was a mistake. I actually don't think so. I think it was the perfect storm. That because, we didn't really know where Salt Papi was. The confidence was there. The star was rising. So, and then his loss to Slim, I definitely think he could definitely win if they run it back. I think it was a lack of, maybe a bit too confident by dropping down a weight too quickly. But the fact that he's back and headlining, which it's a matter of time, a big Misfit star, well, a potential Misfit star like Salt Papi starts headlining a show. I would say if he were to beat Ferrari, that would be a very, very impressive win, especially, and we'll definitely put him back into the trajectory that would allow him to soar back into stardom and maybe get a rematch with Slim and AT in the future.
I was going to say, because I was at the event at the start of the year and I saw Slim and he was saying he wants to fight KSI, handing out posters, wants to fight KSI. If Salt Papi wins, is it more reasonable then that we expect him to probably fight Slim and do that rematch instead of Slim fighting KSI this year?
Oh, definitely. Let's say if Salt Papi beats Ferrari, I don't think the Slim rematch would happen immediately. Same with the AT rematch. I think if he were to beat Ferrari, let's say he beats Ferrari, and let's say King Kenny beats Adam Brooks on the same night, I definitely think those two should face each other next, and then potentially after that is where they get the rematch for the title. Because you got to remember, AT and Slim both have the title. They got the light heavyweight, and match already would kind of devalue the title a little bit. But I can definitely see Salt Papi maybe towards the end of the year, maybe on the big pay-per-view that Ram's been teasing. Maybe that's when the rematch with Slim for the middleweight title could happen. I could definitely see that happening.
And the talk about King Kenny as well, like you said, he's back in action, lost against Anthony Taylor as well on the Prime card. Again, similar position do you think he's in with like Salt Papi, where he kind of needs that win for people to be like, yep, we still believe in you type of thing? Or like, where do you see him as well?
For King Kenny, it's very interesting because throughout his entire career, it's been win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So it's always been, I think, he gets a win and then he gets overconfident and then he loses, and he gets a win, overconfidence, and loses. It's been a constant cycle. So after Adam Brooks, which I do think he will win, I think he's going to win by, I love Adam Brooks, but I don't think he has the skill to beat King Kenny. I think, especially going into this fight now, since it's been, what, 7 months since the Prime card? I think by then, they should definitely have a better game plan going into the fight. So the thing is, I want to see King Kenny rematch Raksu. I think that needs to happen. He needs to get his get back on that one after Adam Brooks, and then maybe after that Salt Papi, and then from there on, whoever wins, starts going up into stardom trajectory.
And in terms of the rest of the card, is there anything for you that you look at and you're like, that's something that fans who are getting new into the Misfits scene or may not necessarily know some of the guys should be paying attention to?
Definitely the co-main event with Julie Parker versus Barbies. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be one of, if not the best women's fight in the entire scene. Especially, I think, with Julie's last fight against Elena Vampira, I think she showed a lot of heart. She showed a lot of, like she's got the dog in her. And I think a lot of fans who aren't necessarily into influencer boxing, or they're just trying to watch it casually, that fight especially, I think, brings in, I wouldn't say skill, but brings in the, the wow factor and the the shock. Like, it's gonna be an absolute brawl. It's gonna be really good. I can't wait for that one, especially.
I want to move. I don't want to say move forward. I want to actually move backwards to something that we saw at the last event, which was the main event, which was Fox the G versus Most Evil Tag Team.
Right.
Now, we know what happened with that, with Most Wanted dropping out, and it kind of did hit the entire card in the sense of, obviously, we had everything that happened apparently with Aiden Ross and everyone evacuating. And then on top of that, the main event then going from a 2-on-1 handicap to basically a 1-on-1 fight. And Mamza, I believe, said as well, he's going to go away from the novelty side of things and just get the 1-on-1 fights type of thing. So do you think for Misfits going forward, in terms of the credibility and making sure no one pulls out, that's probably the best thing to do, and to remove away from these little novelty fights that they're trying to put on as well?
Well, I think the thing is with Misfits, I do really like the novelty fights. I think the tag teams especially are just phenomenal. All 3 of them that have happened, especially the one at the Prime card, was it was so fun, especially seeing that live. It adds something new every single time. I think the handicap match, from when it first got announced, I think a lot of people, including myself, didn't really like it. And I think the whole situation with Most Wanted, I've actually spoken to him personally. I don't believe that there was any malicious intent, especially from Aiden Ross, with that whole thing. I think it genuinely was just, the whole thing with the bomb threat as well. Overconfidence of being a main event for DAZN. First, I think it might have been his first time in the States. I'm not too sure, but all these factors all combined to lead. So I do agree with not having any small creators on Misfits going forward. No, I would say a small creator has to have a purpose of being there. He has to have a purpose. Like, for example, I wouldn't really say Meals with Max is a small creator, but he has a purpose of being there. He's replacing Tasmanian Devil, last minute replacement. Most did have a reason to be there. He's not as a high level skilled as Fox. Yes. Hero. He had a purpose to be there. But everyone under the Twitter that keep keep begging to be on these cards should definitely get their bread up, essentially. But
yeah, sorry, carry on before I ask.
I was gonna say, with to answer your question, I do think Misfits should still continue. I know they were gonna do a thing called Misfits Mountain on 15 before that got scrapped because of the backlash. Oh no, on 14, sorry, because of the backlash of 13. The one thing I do think is that they should not prioritize it as a main event unless it has a substantial ground. Like, a tag team could be a main event because that already has the foundations. We've already seen that before. An outnumbered match, maybe that being as the co-main, could have worked. But it definitely shouldn't have been the main event. And I think a lot of things leading before did cause it to crash and burn, essentially.
I was gonna say, whilst I've got you here anyway, might as well keep on Fox as well. First, I think his debut was in Leeds at the start of the year, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
Then main events in America. Have Misfits just found a little gem, a little star that they can potentially put on the card that we're going to talk about very, very soon, towards the back end of the year.
Definitely. Look, I've been following Fox for a while now. I mean, I've been following him before the whole influencer boxing scene. I remember him appearing in like one of KSI's old videos, like back in the day. So I've always been following Fox G, and you know, when he had his amateur fights, I'd always pay attention. Like, yeah, I think Fox is definitely going to become a future star. Like, I mean, he's already had his first main event. Unfortunately, it was a disaster, but you know, the trajectory that he's going, especially with that knockout with Small Spartan J, which I did not think was going to happen. I love Fox, but I didn't think he was going to win.
It happened. It was the way everyone, because I was doing media. That was my first media event. I was there. I was like, whoa! Like, everyone just stands up in the media section and like, yo, this kid's good.
I didn't think he was going to win, and it's that type of reaction that you get from watching a fighter, especially on his debut. That's what's going to get you to be the next star. That's what's going to get people to come in next time and be like, okay, I've seen what he's done before. I'm interested. Now, I really want to see him fight Adam Saleh next. I think that could, maybe not a main event just yet, maybe as the co-main, but Fox could definitely be a top star, especially in this scene, definitely.
Another guy, first, I think having Adam Saleh on the card can be a main event because he's Adam Saleh. So I think it can work just by putting him in the main event. I don't know if Adam's going to be on a Misfits card personally. I don't see it happening personally myself.
I think, you know, with Adam Saleh, I think he will be on a Misfits show eventually. I think, you know, he was supposed to be on Aiden Ross's card, like the actual sanction card, so it was going to go on his record. I think it fell through, and I think especially with the relationship Misfits has with Slim, I definitely do see Adam Saleh eventually, like once they get past all the money and, you know, all the complicated things behind the scenes, I definitely do think Adam Saleh will be on the stage, and I would love for him to be on Misfits. You know, having another Adam represent would be pretty fire. His last fight was on the Paul Fury card, I believe. So it's been some time. So maybe he might want a warm-up fight before going against Fox. But I know him and Fox were supposed to fight on the Prime card. Things were very close to getting signed, but last-minute changes, and it just didn't end up happening. But I definitely want them to, you know, run it in the future.
One guy I got to talk to you about then as well is Joey Knight. I just think when I'm watching Joey, I'm like, knockout power, genuine boxing ability at that particular level that he's fighting at as well. And I think for me, he's the favorite in the lightweight tournament as well. I believe he's done a video where he's called out Waleed as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Joey in terms of, like, we talked about Fox's star power, in terms of what Joey can do. And again, he's also got the content creation backing as well, because he does a lot of content in terms of football and stuff like that as well. Talk to me about Joey and what he can do in this particular year in 2024 with Misfits.
Now, with Joey Knight, I believe Joey Knight is the pure definition of an influencer boxer. He still keeps up his content. He has he has a really good personality when it comes to the fighting. You know, his personality stands out from everyone else. He's got the skills to back it up as well. I mean, his knockout against Baby Hope was very, well, I wouldn't say shocking, but it was really it was spectacular, I'd say, definitely. Yeah. And I do think, you know, Fox and Joey Knight, I think they're both gonna propel in stardom. I don't think Joey Knight will win the tournament personally. If I were to pick a winner, it would either be Waleed or Lil Cray Cray. Okay. I think Lil Cray Cray might have too much more experience over Joey Knight. If, you know, that's saying if Lil Cray Cray does beat Yidi Gang when they eventually run it back. I think, you know, Joey Knight definitely has the ability to, you know, attract that audience as well, especially from the UK. If, you know, he continues his projection, continues winning, continues talking shit, like he can talk shit, and he can definitely back it up as well. He has the personality, like I said. He has the vocabulary. A lot of these guys in the scenes don't really have that, like, you know, whippiness. You know, they can't really think on the spot, whereas Joey Knight definitely can. So he could definitely be another headliner for sure, if built correctly. And I think after the tournament, there's a lot to happen afterwards with Joey Knight.
I think one thing you said about Joey and being able to speak and stuff is the fact that his fan base. I'm not even calling it a fan base. Following whatever he's generated, again, comes from the fact that it's from traditional boxing as well. In terms of he speaks about normal boxing, the traditional side. He speaks a lot about football. So the fan base may not necessarily be as young as some of the other creators. So you might not even necessarily see it live in the Misfits in the crowd and stuff. But that following that he's got, it's a lot. I think personally, it's a lot more of a developed or an older audience that he does have. And yeah, if they tune into his fights, I think he, like you said, he's got that blend where he can speak well, but he also has the skills to back it up. But it looks very polished, if that makes sense, compared to some of the other guys. That yeah, they might have knockout power. His skill set looks very polished. Do you think similar in that sense?
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. He has especially the fact that he gives us the vibe of like one of those 80s boxers, like, you know, the old school kind of boxers. I'm not calling him old, but he definitely gives us that kind of vibe. So to attract the professional audiences, I think if he does get into the final, it'll be definitely a good scrap, because the way the tables are set, I do think Waleed is on the other side. So the final being Joey versus Waleed, a lot. It's gonna be really good.
I wanted to ask you, in terms of some of the guys that aren't right now in the Misfits scene or in the influencer boxing scene, that you look at and like, if they get them, it'd be amazing. So I'm going to throw some names out. Ethan and Joe Weller. How much would you want to see that particular fight happening? And what's the likelihood of it really happening?
I would kill to have that kind of fight happen.
That's a main event.
Definitely. It's a pay-per-view main event as well. Yeah. I mean, it brings the 2018 old school vibes. I would kill to have that happening. Now, the likelihood of it happening, I know Mams has said he's still trying to get it to happen, but especially the fact that Ethan just proposed, I don't see it happening personally. Maybe in a year or two. I don't see it happening, unfortunately. But if I could make one fight happen in this scene, other than KSI Jake, of course, it definitely would be this one.
I mean, we saw Speed at WrestleMania. Look, he took an RKO, so fair play to him in that. Do you think he can go into the boxing ring, or do you think, because it's probably not his thing type of thing, or do you think you might see it one day?
Speed. I think he would. I mean, he definitely could. I could see it happening. Maybe not anytime soon. Maybe if his career starts to slowly like decline, he has the ability to slowly not stream as much as often. But if it were to happen, it would have to be against someone who he has genuine what's the word? Genuine anger towards. It can't just be someone like I don't think he would ever enter as like a King Kenny just fighting Adam Brooks so he can get like, you know, build his confidence back up. It would definitely have to be a personal beef. And especially the way the streaming world is happening, you know, the streaming world is going on right now, I could definitely see it happening. Maybe not this year, maybe not anytime next year. Maybe, you know, if Misfits is still around within 2-3 years, which I definitely think it will be. Maybe sometime then. But the likelihood of Speed getting in the ring, honestly, I'd say pretty much zero. You know, maybe for now at least.
What about Deji returning?
I think he's gonna return. I would love for him to return. Of course. I mean, as anyone would. I think I don't think he has the aspirations as he said he had before. When he fought Swarms, there's not that much, you know, it wasn't that much loud noise. It was a bit quiet. He dropped a diss track like after the fight. So I think Deji might return maybe towards the end. I'd say probably like August, maybe September if there's a card there. Maybe even in July if we're lucky. But my hopes aren't that high for Deji to return anytime soon.
Let's talk about the quick final topic then, because it's come out. Final event is supposed to be Misfits 20 for 2024. That's meant to be the pay-per-view card that they want to do. Now, you said at the start that you went to the KSI and Tommy Fury card. I was also there as well. Honestly, I've been to boxing cards. If I always say to every single person who asked me that, the way they marketed that day was so good. Prime bottles, T-shirts. You had that little thing that it was amazing. So like, hats off to them for that. But I think it worked. and they sold out the Manchester Arena because KSI was on that card. So I'm going to ask you this. KSI doesn't box on that card. Can they still sell it out, and can it still be pay-per-view? And who would you say would be the next star enough to be able to take that?
I think if Misfits 20 does end up being like a massive pay-per-view, similar to the Prime card, I think, I don't see anyone having the trajectory that quick from this time on who's already established in the scene. It'd have to be someone from outside. If Logan Paul does come back into boxing, something huge definitely could happen with Logan.
I couldn't see that personally. I think he's like super tied up now with.
Yeah, especially he's got a child in the way as well. I don't think, but if he were to come back, I could definitely see it being him. A big name that has been spoken about, and I have heard, like, from behind the scenes, I have heard that they're working with this person, Wayne Rooney. I could definitely see in some sort of splash.
Yeah.
And the fight that I actually suggested was Wayne Rooney versus Bazinga, and Wayne Rooney versus Ethan. I think that could be the perfect storm for both. Ethan only wants a one-off fight. Maybe the money's not as high for the Weller fight. Wayne Rooney as well probably only wants a one-off fight. Both are. Wayne Rooney's a Manchester United legend. Ethan's a West Ham fan, super fan. So like, it would cause so much ruckus in the football community. A West Ham super fan versus a Man United legend. That's a dream. I would say that's like, if I were to make one fight happen again that isn't KSI Jake, or if it isn't Slim Gibb, or any of the already established ones, it would definitely be Wayne Rooney versus Ethan. But realistically, for someone, I do think Rooney will debut this year. There's a lot of talks behind the scenes. Not sure any concrete or anything. I want to put this out there. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that they are actively working and actively talking with Rooney to start sometime this year.
I was going to say, would you host the card in Manchester? Because the reception, or would you take it again to like an O2 arena in London and stuff like that?
If Wayne Rooney did actually debut and fight on Misfits and fought on Misfits, I would bring it to Manchester, definitely. And I would bring it to the Manchester Stadium, where the games are taking place. Now, I don't know how possible that is because of the football season and everything, but if they could manage to do that, I know for a fact the promotion that they'd be able to get from having it being at the actual stadium where he used to, score incredible goals, I would personally bring it there. Would it sell out is a big question. But for stadium that large, it doesn't need to sell out. It just needs to do 20%, and you've already got 20,000 people already. Boom, perfect success.
One last question then before we just wrap up. Right. If the opportunity ever came to you to appear on a Misfits card to be able to box, one, would you take it? And two, what would be like your current crop of guys that you look at, like, I'd love to get into the ring with him?
Oh, would I ever? Yes, of course I would. I mean, anyone in the scene would, if anyone got the opportunity, I think if you're a fan in the scene, you'd be silly not to take it. You'd be pretty stupid. I do have aspirations, let's say Misfits do here for 5 years. I definitely have aspirations to at least fight once. I do want to fight. I do want to have a boxing match at some point in my lifetime, before I die. So if I were to fight on Misfits, I think I'd probably be in the middleweight category. That's where I should be anyways. So I don't think I'd fight anyone who's already established in the scene. I think it'd be someone, maybe towards someone more of the Middle Eastern culture, because I'd want to bring something new to the table. I don't think Mams would ever, even if I got some sort of following, I don't think Mams would really put me on. I don't, like I said, I don't have a purpose to be on Misfits, but the purpose that I could bring is, to bring the Jordanian audiences, have another Middle Eastern creator, and we start going back and forth in Arabic. Could bring a whole different.
That would be sick. The press conference would be sick.
I'll bring a whole new set of audiences to Misfits. But do I have any aspirations on fighting a Misfits anytime soon? No, nah. I can barely get myself to the gym in the first place. So, and I've got university to worry about at the moment. So, if let's say Mams came to me for summer and he said, "I've got an offer for you. It's 3 weeks. Take it or leave it. I think I'd still take it. You know, I'd still take it
Hey,
because
listen, I'll be honest with you, I'll still take it as well. I'd be like, yo,
of course, because
bring
then
me
you
up
can.
the car, let me get some cash.
That's what I'm saying. Look, the cash as well. But like, let's say you lose
Exposure still.
weeks. That's a redemption story building right there. You know, you've lost. Oh, 3 weeks. I'm sorry. Come back, fully camp. You know, they've had. Oh, I've seen this guy before. He fought and he lost. Okay, let's see what he's got. Wins. Boom. Perfect story.
Listen, man, I have to be honest with you. I could chat to you for like at least a full hour type of thing, but I do have to wrap up. And again, man, I appreciate you genuinely for taking the time out to come hop on, have a conversation. Definitely want to have you as a guest going forward as well after any events and stuff like that to recap and review if you're down for that as well.
Hey, let me know whenever, man. I appreciate coming on. It was really fun actually. Have a fun little discussion as well about the influencer scene. So, hey, whenever you want me on, just let me know and I'll hop on.
Just quickly, just shout out again your social media so if people want to follow, they can go ahead and do so as well.
So if anyone wants to follow me, my Twitter user is, where is it? It's literally just this. It's my full name, GhaziTwaissi. My Instagram is Twaissi Ghazi, last name, first name. And I might be starting a YouTube channel soon. Who knows? I have aspirations for that, but no promises. So if you want to keep up to date with me, follow me on Twitter and follow my news account as well if you're into the influencer boxing scene. Crossover Boxing News. That's crossover and what is it? Crossover B News on Twitter. So
I appreciate you as always, man, for jumping on. Like I said, if we got more opportunities, for sure, we'll definitely get you on. Guys, as always, if you like the content, drop a like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Until next time, guys, love.